We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity, and we're going to be talking about communication today. And so, and specifically communication in accounting and tax firms. And so, communication, I have worked with CPA and accounting firms, tax firms for over 30 years. And my experience is that most owners of those firms would not say that they are the best at communication. And you all can interrupt me at any time, but we're going to go through the lesson here on communication. Understanding the value of communication is so important. Like, it's going to save you time. It's going to help you be more profitable, i.e., make more money, work less hours, have less stress, improve your life balance. It's going to help you do that. So if it's going to help us do that, why do we spend so little time on learning about communication or improving our communication? And so they say that 96% of all of our communication is not the words, it's our physiology. It's the pitch, the speed, the body language. It's all that goes into it. So each of the four different personalities, they will communicate in different ways. And so when we're working with one another in our company, in our firm, it's very important to understand the different personalities. When we're talking with our clients, it's very important to understand our client's personality. Because what words mean, gestures mean, body language means to one personality, or what causes pain for one personality will actually cause pleasure for another personality. I was sharing the other day about when I was 23, 24 years old, and I was in management, and I tried to apply the golden rule. Probably we all know that: treat other people the way we want to be treated. It wasn't working for me. Other people do not like to be treated the way I like to be treated. So let's start off with the amiable in communication. The amiable is going to be less assertive, and they're going to be focused on people. So some of their greatest strengths is, their concern, compassion for people. Some of their weaknesses are concern, compassion for people. Our greatest strength is our greatest weakness. Our greatest weakness is just our greatest strength misapplied. It's taking a strength and carrying it too far. Another strength of the amiable is going to be their tenacity. Once they set their mind to do something, they do it. One of their weaknesses of that is they can be very, very, very stubborn. They tend to hold the group together, or they can be poison for the entire group. You get an amiable that's bitter, and it can destroy the entire organization. People will tend to come to the amiable with their problems, even if that's not the wisest thing to do in a company or an organization. And so with the communication of the amiable, they will say that you're yelling at them. My kids, Dad, you're yelling at me. It's like, am I? So they kind of translate intensity into anger. I'm not saying they like drama. I'm not saying they like conflict. They say they don't like conflict, but they create a lot of conflict. Why? Because they don't address things quickly. They avoid things hoping that it's going to get better, or knowing that the driver personality is going to, they'll take care of everything. They'll be the bad guy. I'll be the good guy. It's almost like, you have a leaky pipe in your office. Ignoring it, this is not going to solve the problem. It's only going to make it worse. If you're a driver personality, so the amiable, you choose the ball and or conflict with others is painful. If you chose the pyramid or the cube or out of order, communication. So the amiable, when you're communicating with the amiable, you're going to go ahead and want to use softer tones. You want to be careful. They're super hypersensitive about intensity or anger. If you're an amiable, deal with it. Everybody doesn't have to be. Don't get arrogant and think you know how to deal with people, which just happens to be the way you like to deal with people. That's not the right way. It's okay to be intense. It's okay to be a little direct. It's okay to go ahead and have some conflict. But if you're dealing with an amiable, they're often not going to tell you the truth. They don't call it lying, they call it being nice. I don't know how not being honest is being nice, but in their wiring, in their brain, this is what they think. So when in communication, when an amiable tells you something, you just they're going to tell you what they think you want to hear, even if it's a lie, because that's kind of how they like things. And so in communication, you have to factor that into communication. I'm talking to an amiable. They're maybe not telling me the truth or the whole story. The analytic is like the amiable in that they're less assertive. They're off to the left, so they're less assertive, but they're focused on task rather than people. So when you're communicating things getting done, or not getting done, any of those types of things, if you're communicating things getting done or not getting done, you want to talk slower to the analytic and the amiables. If you talk fast, they won't trust you. They won't think you know what you're doing. They like in an outline format, talk A, B, C, sub point 1, 2, 3, D, E, F. And again, you can all interrupt me at any time on the podcast here and going through it and understanding it. And so with the analytic, you don't want to talk about multiple topics all at the same time. You want to be very clear and very concise with what you're saying and asking. And so they're less assertive and they're focused on the task. The expressive personality, that would be the wavy line or things being boring or not fun. This type of personality, you want to communicate with energy and excitement. The amiable, if you are the analytic, if you communicate with energy and excitement and passion, they might lose you. So they likely will. They'll be like overwhelmed. Their senses are like, I don't know what to do. The expressive personality will communicate in a way to the analytic that the analytic has a hard time hearing. And so they're more assertive. They're like the amiable, where they're focused on the people, but they're more assertive socially. They're not afraid of making mistakes. They're kind of looking foolish. They're the center of attention. So their strengths are their energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. They have a million ideas. So when you're communicating with the expressive, you want to communicate with energy and passion. When you're communicating to the analytic, you want to communicate with precision. If you say one thing wrong, one thing's not accurate in the analytics perspective, then they won't trust you. If you don't communicate with the expressive and energy, excitement, and enthusiasm, they won't like working with you because it's not fun. If you don't communicate, with the amiable about their family and friends and those kind of things, then they won't trust you. They're like, they don't really care about me as a person. And then the fourth is the driver personality. So the driver personality, that personality is they're more assertive like the expressive, but they're focused on the task. So they're focused on the task. And so you want to use as few words as possible with the driver. So you want to use as few words as possible, get to the point. Don't talk about their family, their friends, their vacation. They're here to get the job done. It's very direct. It's very abrupt. It's almost seems like cold and harsh, but that's what they like. If you're the driver personality, you're going to need to shift into other people's personality. And then there's the chameleon personality. It's like the fifth one. It's like an amiable a driver or an expressive analytic. It's like they're all the personalities. They're all combined together. They're flexible. So their greatest strengths is flexibility. Their greatest weakness is flexibility and being able to go through. And so when we communicate with the flexible person, they can talk about this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, and they kind of go all over the place. They kind of like talking about everything all the time. And so understanding the personalities and how we communicate. So the horizontal axis is more assertive or less assertive. So the expressive and the driver are more assertive. So you will want to talk more assertive. You can go faster with the expressive and the driver. With the analytic and the amiable, you will tend to talk slower and softer. If you look at the vertical axes, the driver and the on the top, the driver and the analytic, these are going to be task oriented. When you're communicating with the task, person, you want to focus on communicating task, not the people. When you're communicating with the expressive or the amiable personality, you're going to focus on communicating more people there. So again, this is not a destination. You go through one course and you say, whoa, I got it. This is done. I've been studying this for over 30 years. So the more you know about personalities, the more you know you don't know. So this is a journey that you go on. It's a journey. It's not a destination. Questions or thoughts on anything we covered today on communication? All right. If you have any questions on this, connect with your art mentor or your two art buddies. Connect with with the individual who invited you to participate, the channel owner on this, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300 outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.